crane boom contacted these high-voltage power lines. 7,200 volts passed from the power lines through the wire rope into the suspended structural section to the rigger, who was still holding on to the section. The rigger was killed instantly.
Before we go into details of the crane accident that led to the death of a rigger, let me give you some statistics when it comes to crane-related accidents so you can appreciate how critical this topic is and the role of occupational health and safety when it comes to eliminating or reducing to the barest minimum all risks associated with crane operations. As you can see right here, the information here is from the United States Department of Labor. The list we have here are reported accidents from the year 2022 up until 2024. Gosh, this is serious. All the details are showing fatalities. Lives have been lost, and this should not happen. Okay, there is just 1 out of 20 that did not lead to death, and we will look at that in a bit. So this says, employee is killed when crushed by falling overhead crane. And this, employee is killed when struck by die. Struck by die. Well, let's look at a much clearer one, okay? Right here, we have employee is killed when struck by falling. Steel material. Not good. But there is one I saw about electrocution. Okay, there we go. It says employee suffers electrocution fatality when rigging contact. And this is partly why I am doing this video. As you saw in the earlier preview, a rigger had died under similar circumstances. And this one here, there was no death. Look at it. So this one says that at 6:30 p.m. on February 21st, 2022, an employee was working as a driver, groundman, and the workplace was a railroad yard for Union Pacific. The overhead crane operator placed a sea container onto a chassis for transportation. The sea container was not completely seated onto the chassis. The employee used a twist lock to strike an interblock connector, IBC, to get the sea container to seat properly. The employee placed his hand on the chassis to start striking the IBC when the sea container settled, pinning the employee's left-hand ring and middle finger between the sea container and the chassis. The employee was hospitalized to treat crushed fingers. Oops! And this is serious. Okay, let's now watch the full video of what I showed earlier, and then you will better appreciate some of the risks and some measures that would have been very essential to the task.
A crane operator and 2 riggers were moving structural sections of a crane boom from a storage area to another area of the shipyard. The riggers were positioned at both ends of the structural sections while they were being transported. After the first section was delivered, the men noticed their original route taken to deliver the first section was now blocked by another working crane. Rather than wait for the crane to finish and move out of the way, they decided to take another route to the worksite. As they transported the second section, the 2 riggers focused their attention on keeping the load headed straight down the narrow path. All 3 workers failed to see the overhead power lines. The crane boom contacted these high-voltage power lines. 7,200 volts passed from the power lines through the wire rope into the suspended structural section to the rigger, who was still holding on to the section. The rigger was killed instantly.
So this is so disturbing because when you look at the operation and under review, you realize that a crane is heading towards a particular location where they are supposed to undertake a certain task. And then on the way, they realize that there is another crane on the way, or let's say the route to get to where they are going to have the operation has changed. Now, once the route has changed, it tells you right from the word go that you do not know this alternative route so well. And even if you do, it was not part of the initial plan, so you have to risk assess again, okay? Because you are supposed to have used route A, but route A is no longer safe for you because something is preventing you from getting to your destination. You do not know this other route that you tend to use to access your work site, okay? So immediately you have to know that you have to risk assess. And with crane operations, when it comes to the risk assessment, there is no particular style for doing this. I mean, the least they could have done was carry out an inspection of the new route to gain access to this area where they were supposed to undertake the said operation. But they failed to do that because, mind you, if they had just done a walkabout inspection, I mean, with all 3 team members involved, they could have probably identified the overhead hazard, and they are more likely to abort the attempt to use the route, which means the operator and the riggers would come back and then wait for the other crane to finish the job. Know this: there is something in safety when there is a change, or when there are changes in procedures or in systems or in work activities, you have to do a risk assessment again, okay? And so that is to say the least. And then you realize that the rigger was handling the load with his bare hands, and per practice this is wrong, because as a rigger you should know this. If you are a properly trained rigger, you should know that there are requirements to every lifting operation. I mean, we know about taglines. You should use a tagline, okay? And it helps. So this is the little I can say. But, mind you, there could also be issues of training, because if these workers were properly trained, then you would realize that they would much be aware of some of these things before they happen. You get it? So, training becomes another measure that should be looked at comprehensively, because you are not just looking at training the riggers, you are looking at training the crane operator as well to be able to identify hazards and carry out the required risk assessments, and to be able to put in the necessary control measures so that lives and properties will be protected, okay? Most importantly, human lives, because here is the case that a life was lost. So this is the few I can say for now, but there are some risks that are not inherent, okay? Some are not immediately obvious, just like what happened earlier when there was a change in the initial work plan where they had to use another route. I also did not know why there were no signal men. Every crane operation must have the right team composition, so basically that is it. So let's go to OSHA and see what exactly OSHA says when it comes to things like this, and we wrap up on this episode.
There's so many things to be angry about, and my phone won't ring unless I call you out. But the kids seem good and that'll do for now. There's gotta be more in store for this lonely town.
Found the one, you should never give her up. I think it's the way life changes when in love, yeah. I surround my soul with the positivity. That's why I don't worry about the things that I don't see, yeah. These days I don't worry about much. I think we should have some more fun. I still dream about the days when we were young. I'll take a hit and still finish in one, yeah, yeah. Isn't that too far away from our hearts, yeah, yeah. The ones we keep close, we should never let go. your soul, tell me who you love, baby. Take a moment to unwind, fix yourself and realign yourself with the world, baby. Breathe slow, baby, yeah. We should breathe slow, we should breathe slow, we should breathe slow. We should breathe slow, we should breathe slow, we should breathe slow. We should breathe slow, we should breathe slow, we should breathe slow. We should breathe slow, breathe slow.
I think we all thought that we did the right thing, but it didn't turn out that way. It's been heavy and we're starting to break, but I hope you'll be okay. There's little difference in the words that we say, 'cause we all want the same thing. The sun still rises in her usual way to welcome the new day. I don't feel it anymore, and I know I'm not the same. I'll keep trying to put it on, but I'm fading away. I'm staring out into a whole new space where I know I should feel safe. My heart is breaking and this look on my face shouldn't look this way again. So much confusion in this theater of pain with the roles we all play. I'm standing up and I don't care what it takes. I don't care what they say. I keep staring at the floor, and I'm tired of these games. I keep trying to